Before any actor can make a move on stage or any phrase can be uttered from the character's lips, each word and description must be brought forth and set down on paper from the fertile imagination of a creative writer. And these words came straight from the creative mind of Carolina legend Bob Inman, a published novelist, screenwriter, and playwright. I caught up with Bob at his home in Conover, North Carolina. Now, how did you get into broadcasting in the beginning? How did that all happen?
Well, when I was in high school, a fellow built a radio station in my hometown in Alabama. I went and asked the guy for a job, and he said, well, we could use some help. So
Right.
I started as a teenage disc jockey.
Wow.
And it was wonderful because I could play records and dedicate them to my girlfriend.
You were totally hooked up there, weren't you?
And then went on to college and studied radio and television and worked my way through school at Alabama. And then right after graduation, went into TV news.
Bob's career as a news anchor was going well, but he began to feel a need to expand his creative expressions. And then you came to WBT in Charlotte. How many years were you on the air there?
25.
How did that affect your life?
Well, it was odd hours. I worked 3 to midnight every day, but then I had my mornings to write. I would get up in the morning and read the paper and drink a cup of coffee and eat a little breakfast and go write for 2 or 3 hours. The house was usually quiet and I could get momentum going on a story, and it really worked.
So how long have you been writing?
The first novel came out in 1987.
Okay.
So I've been a professional writer, I guess you'd say, since then.
So what was your first novel?
Home Fires Burning.
Okay. What was your inspiration for that book?
Well, the hero is a crusty old Southern hometown weekly newspaper editor.
Okay.
And I know that world very well, and I worked for some people like that when I was coming up. But it was a lot of fun to do. I took about probably 5 or 6 years to write that book.
What was it that built this fascination of storytelling?
First of all, I was one of those fortunate kids that was read to as a child. My mother did that, and she gave me what I call the gift of imagination. And then I grew up in a large, rowdy, storytelling family of South Alabamians. And, you know, we just love to get together and tell stories, and some of them might be true and some of them might not. But I came out of that tradition, and I think it really marked me as a person who wanted to tell his own stories.
Home Fires Burning had become a success, and it wasn't long before the book caught the eye of a certain movie production company.
Well, my agent was shopping the book. She called up one day and she said, I have some good news. Hallmark Hall of Fame wants to option the book. And they would like for Bob to try to write the script. And so I did. Worked with a great producer. I had never written a movie script before, but it turned out well.
So that was your first script?
That was my first script.
So tell me what how did that go down? How did that happen?
Well, it was a fascinating experience. Hallmark really likes writers, and they like good writing, and they like good stories, and that's why they chose mine. Good cast, fabulous cast, as a matter of fact. We filmed it down in Georgia. I spent a lot of time on the set and watched people work.
Right.
And began to think like a producer, like a director, like a cast member. And I think that really has helped my novel writing. I see things and then I write about them, and I think the film background helps that.
So how'd that movie do for you?
It did really well. It won its time period for CBS. It won a film festival medal, and it really got my foot in the door to doing screenplay work. At last count, I've done 20 made-for-TV movie scripts, and 6 of them have actually been made.
Now you had another one, The Summer of Ben Tyler?
Summer of Ben Tyler. It was inspired by a true story that happened in Lincolnton, North Carolina.
Okay.
I took the idea to the Hallmark people. They liked it. They hired me to write a screenplay, an original, and it won the Writers Guild of America Award in 1997 as the best TV movie script of the year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Once Bob's career as a writer took off, he realized it was finally time to leave the news desk behind.
By the time Dairy Queen Days was ready to come out, I had decided I could make a living. And I've got 2 books under my belt and a 3rd ready to come out, and I've started doing movie work. So I told the folks at WBTV that I had found what I wanted to do when I grow up.
As if being a novelist and an award-winning screenwriter weren't enough, Bob decided to try his hand at yet another creative medium.
In 2003, I decided to become a playwright. There was a story that I wanted to tell, and I thought it just made sense to see it on stage. I could just see this as a play. Not only that, it was a play with songs in it. It was a musical. I mean, you know, I'm biting off something I know absolutely nothing about. But I like to do that, find something I don't know how to do and then try to do it. We put on this play called Crossroads, which was a musical, and sold out 26 performances up there.
Wait a minute, and let me guess, you had no musical background?
Well, my grandmother was a piano teacher.
Your grandmother?
And my grandmother in Alabama was a piano teacher, and she taught me to play the piano. And I know enough about music to be dangerous. I can hear songs.
Right.
And I figured out a way to put them down on paper.
Since then, Bob has written several more plays. His latest, Liberty Mountain, premiered to sold-out audiences at the Gateway Festival in Kings Mountain.
The Kings Mountain play, that's different than anything else you've ever done, right?
It's a historical play. It's based on an actual event in history, the Battle of Kings Mountain in the Revolutionary War. I actually have an ancestor who was killed in the battle.
Okay.
So my interest in the Battle of Kings Mountain goes way, way back. I wanted to tell the story of the people who settled the Carolinas and who got caught up in the Revolution and what their lives meant to that event and mean to us today.
And it's a large cast too, right?
Huge cast, yes, absolutely. And we've done our initial production, and now we're going to do it every summer in the future in Kings Mountain.
So this Liberty Mountain thing that Bob Inman done, I mean, did you expect it to be this successful?
I expected it to be a success, but I didn't realize how much the community would support it and get in on it. I mean, the overwhelming support from the community, it's just been incredible.
It's been very surprising, but we're excited to be a part of it, and we're making history in our own unique way.
How important do you think community theaters are, Bob?
Oh, essential. Any community that has a good community theater group and a good place for them to put on plays is enriched by that.
From radio DJ to news anchor, from published author to playwright, it seems that Bob has finally figured out what he wants to do when he grows up.
Correction there. I haven't grown up yet. But if I ever do, this is what I will continue to be doing.
At least
I found my passion.
Yeah.
If you find your passion and you can make a living at it, that's a perfect world.